Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Unreal Talk. I'm Brian. That's Dave.
This is a ghost.
I got my pet skull.
Yeah.
Because you know what today's topic is?
Scary movies.
I was going to say marshmallows, but that works too.
Let's have some marshmallows from the chubby bunny bullshit you guys were doing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They're just up in the cabinet. I haven't fucked with them.
You should have melted them in with your bacon, things. And...
I'm not gonna put marshmallows in my bacon cheese bombs. That's retarded. But those bacon cheese bombs were fucking awesome, though. See, that is what I would use for the chubby bunny challenge. I would just keep stuffing bacon cheese bombs in my mouth until I died.
Rest in peace, coronary. Immediately following. You wouldn't want to. You'd probably suffocate because you wouldn't want to spit them out if they clogged your windpipe.
Oh, hey, speaking of scary movies, Pixels.
Oh, yeah.
Saw the preview for it in 3D when I went and saw The Avengers.
Oh, really?
That movie looks retarded, but it's going to be the kind of retarded where I'm going to have to suffer through it just to see how cool it looks.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I don't know. They were right. I don't think Adam Sandler. Well, he's had some misses.
More than hits is all I'm saying.
Did you ever see Overboard, the first movie that he ever did?
No.
That is the most god-awful movie I have ever seen, literally. It's on Netflix. Go watch Overboard.
Oh, speaking of Netflix, you know what I watched? It was a scary movie. Horns.
Yeah.
Harry Potter turned into a demon and shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Exactly.
That movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome. I don't know if I'd really consider it horror, per se. I mean, there were some,
there's horrific elements to it.
Yeah.
Like some of the blood and gore and some of the overall themes.
Yeah.
The whole murder thing and some of the various moments in the movie. The movie moments where I'm going to have to murder the cat. Psst.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started with this interesting topic. What would you really... I hadn't thought about it until you just brought up horns, but what would you really consider, horror versus maybe,
Well, that depends on what you consider horrific. I mean, do you find the idea of someone... Okay, back in the day, House on Haunted Hill, black and white movie, there were some skeletons and shit in it, but it didn't have jump scares, it didn't have special effects to speak of.
Yeah.
It just had a kind of theme that most people would kind of go, ooh.
Yeah. Which was really extreme back then, yeah.
The problem is these days, everyone's so jaded, you need to have, Jason Voorhees doing jump scares every 5 minutes, in the middle of murdering and raping teenagers to really get people to go, oh!
Yeah, I mean, these days, really,
The Blob was a horror movie.
Yeah.
What was it doing? Well, it creeps and sweeps and glides on the wall. I forget the rest of the song, but, beware of the Blob. Sleeps and creeps.
I just remember.
Yeah, so it goes through doors and walls and shit, but, what are you really afraid of? It's going to land on you and, eat you because it's a giant gelatinized acid.
Yeah.
That's not the scariest thing ever.
Which worked better in the 80s remake of The Blob when they redid it that way, because, it was a little more proactive than just, jelly rolling down the side of, a hill.
Pretty much.
But, I wouldn't exactly call that scary. But something about those lines that I was just thinking of was, the Alien movies. Because,
Well, it's tense. That was a lot of tension. There wasn't even that many jump scares. It was mostly just kind of the building sense of everyone else dying except her, and you're kind of just wondering when it's going to come finish her off.
Yeah. You have, Alien, which is considered a horror movie, right? And then you have Aliens, which was considered a horror movie.
Action horror.
Yeah, action horror. By the time it got to Alien Resurrection, or was it Insurrection? Resurrection, yeah. Anyway, by the time they got to that, it's titled under sci-fi. It's not even titled under horror anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has basically the same. Well,
yeah. I mean, the movie hasn't changed much. I mean, Aliens. Yeah. I mean, except for the fact that Aliens is obviously better than Alien Resurrection. I mean, obviously by a fucking mile. Okay, beside the fact that it's better. I mean, if you look at the themes, you got a bunch of people trapped in an isolated location with a limited amount of weapons and ammo, trying to make it from one place to another so they can get on their ship and get the fuck away. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's practically a remake.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take it on the basis of, okay, here's the general story, here are some of the characters, here's the set pieces, this could be the same movie if you just gave it to a different director.
Yeah.
So you agree with me that the principles of this goddamn remake are more important than, going to Mars and looking at the three-breasted hooker. Granted, I would love a three-breasted hooker in every fucking movie.
Headbutt.
Would you stop talking about Total Recall for a minute? God. Stop talking about the gym. God damn it. Anyway. But yeah, aside from the fact that Alien Resurrection and Aliens are pretty much the same movie, it was made at a time when that kind of movie wasn't made every day. I mean, really, Starship Troopers came out before Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, but after Aliens.
And that pretty much had the same basic storyline,
Little known fact, by the way.
You're scaring the ghosts.
Yeah, little known fact, by the way. Aliens actually borrows greatly from the novel Starship Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, so much more than Starship Troopers, the movie.
And Starship Troopers, the movie, borrowed a lot from Aliens.
Yeah.
Weird, huh?
Yeah, it is very odd. Also, Aladdin, the Disney Aladdin, not really in regards to that, but actually took almost everything that it had as far as its story from the cobbler. What is it? The cobbler in the shoe or something? I don't know.
The cobbler in the movie not related to this topic at all.
I don't know. It's just what it
we can talk about Hollywood ripping off Hollywood later.
Yeah, we can do a whole topic on that.
On bad remakes and stolen story ideas that should have been remakes but weren't.
Yeah. And how many Hellraiser movies shouldn't have been made?
That wasn't his fault, though. It was just that's another example of, what do you consider horror?
Yeah.
A lot of people find Hellraiser deeply disturbing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, Damien.
Yeah.
That was a horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is if you look at the horror movies that are made in a specific time, you're basically taking a social barometer reading of everything else that's going on in the world at that time.
Yeah.
It's there was that one movie, it was kind of a horror movie. I was watching it about, the terrorist attack in L.A. and the guy got sealed in his house. I don't remember if I told you about it, but I don't know if you watched it. But the whole principle of the movie was, people were being told to stay in their homes and seal it with plastic and don't let any air get in or out because there was possibly dangerous elements floating around from a series of dirty bombs.
Yeah.
Well, you follow this guy as he seals his place up, and then he has to deal with somebody showing up, and he's trying to decide if he should help them or not, and then he seals off part of his house so that they can use part of it and he can use part of it, and there's this whole drama and struggle. He winds up with one of his neighbors or another person in his house, and how that plays out, and the guy's finally look, I gotta get out of here, okay, I'll go ahead, seal this part off, you seal this off, I'll go through, and you can just keep doing what you're doing. But the whole building suspense was just about him being trapped in this house, and at one point, spoilers, because I don't even remember the name of the movie, but just in case you stumble on it.
Yeah, if it sounds familiar to you.
Yeah, stop. Nah, never mind.
Stop, anyway, drop, and roll.
Yeah, his wife or his fiance or something shows up, and she throws something through the window. I think it's her cell phone, and it's covered in the dust from that terrorist attack. So he takes it and he, tosses it somewhere else, and he reseals the house. But apparently in doing so, sealing himself in that hot house, he actually made it worse because the bacteria didn't have anywhere else to go except concentrate on him, so it created a super bacteria. So at the very end of the movie, these guys in hazmat suits show up and basically tell them that they're going to kill him with gas. because he's got like a super strain of this bacteria, and if they let him out, he's going to wind up killing people. So the last thing you see is him trying to get out of his house, only to find out that everything is sealed, and he's basically in a
quarantine zone.
Yeah, he's like in one of those fumigation tents that they've put up around his house, and they're fucking killing him. So that's how the movie ends. Like, it turns out him leaving his wife outside, she didn't get a concentrated dose of whatever the hell was causing the problem, so she survives.
Yeah.
Because they get her to a hospital and she manages to live.
Yeah, you gotta love irony.
Yeah.
You know, I like movies that have ironic endings like that. You know,
That's like a twist that M. Night Shyamalan wishes he could do.
Yeah.
Because he sucks.
Yeah.
He sucker punched the first time. Second time, ooh, caught me a little off guard. Next couple of movies, I'm like, fuck you and your killer plants.
Yeah, he's just, he's just like that kid that just keeps doing the same thing over and over again because, people are entertained the first time. Horror movie is isolation horror. Like we were just talking about Aliens, and that's...
Well, Alien.
Aliens.
Well, Aliens wasn't isolated, though. There was a lot of people.
Well, they were trapped on the...
Yeah, they were trapped together, though.
It might not be like one person like it was with, at the very end of the first one with Sigourney Weaver, but all of the movies were predicated on people being trapped somewhere they couldn't get out of, and they were surrounded by aliens, xenomorphs. Exactly, alone in the dark. And nobody could get you.
The fucking Uwe Boll movies.
Even Alien, even the first Alien versus Predator was kind of people trapped somewhere in this whole battle.
Yeah, because they wound up in the Antarctic, and but that's another thing. It's like, is Alien versus Predator still a horror movie, or is it just sci-fi at this point?
They considered it. Actually, that was one of the reasons why I was also bringing that up too. Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator 2 Requiem were considered sci-fi movies if you look them up. Yeah, exactly. Did people die gruesomely? Yes. It might be a little more censored these days than it used to be, as far as you don't see people just freaking ripped in half anymore. Yeah. But then again, that's what you get with a PG-13 horror movie.
If you really think back on it, you think back to the original archetype movies, let's say This Island Earth. It's a sci-fi movie. It's straight sci-fi.
Yeah.
These people meet up in this secluded area after being given alien technology. They get taken to an alien world. Some shit goes down, and then they come back from the alien world. And that's a sci-fi movie. There's one or two parts that are like, whoa, look at that crazy alien that's going to kill him. Yeah. But it's never really anything that bad. It's like, if we remade This Island Earth now, it would kind of be like Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Because the whole crux of This Island Earth was that the aliens that were abducting people were from a planet that was at war, and they wanted the smartest people on Earth to help them build new weapons and fortify their technologies to save their world.
Exactly, which is the same plot as Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, except Galaxy Quest was funny as fuck on purpose, not accidentally.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I just heard, I think last week, that they're thinking of making a sequel to Galaxy Quest.
I heard they were thinking about making a TV show, which is like...
Oh.
I regret to inform everyone that I've lost the highest score in Red Dead Redemption multiplayer while we've been sitting here.
It's because he's hiding in his teepee.
That's right. I'm actually, as we speak, sitting in one of the instances in a tent, hiding. I'll get back to it later.
He's had it for the last hour, though, just sitting there, He actually got the highest score while he was sitting in a TP not playing the game, so...
Yeah, all of a sudden I had the highest score, now I don't anymore. But anyway, yeah, okay, another thing. Zombies. Zombies make everything horror. Even when it's horror comedy, it's still considered horror. Yeah,
because, in this case, you know what, I think they're playing off of a loophole there, because... dead bodies are horror, showing dead bodies or what have you. Sure, in this case, the dead bodies are animated, but they're still usually potentially somewhat gruesome in modern cinema.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the original Night of the Living Dead, where they're just, people, painted pale with,
while eating chicken.
Yeah, while eating chicken and drinking wine.
Exactly.
Luke Renville.
Leslie Nielsen.
Talking about dead people.
Best Dracula ever.
Yeah. But, But yeah, actually, speaking of that, you know what I just saw the other day? Maggie,
Maggie.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger zombie movie,
Oh, yeah.
which
I hadn't really even thought about it myself, but...
yeah, which was actually a powerful drama, which had very little to do with zombies. You see, Maggie was basically a movie about a zombie outbreak that took place, but there was like a gestation period before he became a zombie. Like, you know, most zombie movies, the reason why the virus spreads so quickly is like you're bit and then maybe like, I don't know, 24 hours or less, sometimes 5 minutes or less and you're a zombie, depending
Well, it's pretty much whenever you die, the virus just kicks your body back in. But at the same time, the virus is also trying very hard to make you dead.
Yeah.
And depending on how far along you are when you get bit, maybe it takes more time, maybe it takes less time. You know, like that one lady in Dawn of the Dead, the one in the newer one, the remake that came out.
Yeah, the fat lady.
Mm-hmm. Where they brought her in. She didn't look that good to begin with, but she apparently got bit, and then all of a sudden, boom, dead.
Yeah, I would have shot her in the fucking head as soon as I saw them.
It's a different world, you know. It's like, yeah, that's one of the things that I don't get about horror movies. I mean, it's like, you know, just not to draw away from the zombie point, but kind of keeping it on the zombie point. At this point in the world, we've got so many zombie movies and zombie TV shows and zombie coloring books and zombie video games that we know that right now, if a zombie burst through the front door, I would probably pick up the chair I'm sitting on and bludgeon it in the face until it stopped moving.
Yeah.
Or at least stuck one of the chair legs through its eye.
Yeah, exactly. Destroy its brain, yeah.
You know, that's like, we know that. It's a no-brainer. We know that if someone's bitten, they're fucked. You know, even if it's one of us, like, holy shit, I got bit, you know.
He's like, I got bit, do me.
Like, give me that gun for a second. Boom. There, you can have that back now.
They're like, whoa.
You can have that back now. And then I fall over dead because I wanted to actually say my last line.
Yes, without your brain.
Yeah.
But
really, I don't need my brain to speak. I think we've proven that in this show.
Very many times.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. But you know about the whole zombie point?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed in a lot of these movies, it doesn't seem like the zombie mythology actually exists.
That's the only thing I can figure. It's like people just don't know they're zombies,
Yeah.
or that there could potentially be zombies. It's like if you took our world and just took every mention of zombies out of it, that would be the setting for a zombie movie.
Yeah, exactly. If you introduce something that nobody's ever seen before, I mean, obviously I can't come up with an example of our world of something we haven't seen before because we haven't seen it, but imagine there's something...
Cthulhu. We haven't seen Cthulhu.
We haven't seen Cthulhu, but we've heard of him. Let's say we never have, and
Yeah,
then
but
all
I
of
mean,
a sudden...
have you heard of how to kill Cthulhu? I sure haven't. In fact, I've pretty much heard that when he shows up, we just cash in our checks and call it a day.
Yep. You just go insane and...
But yeah, let's just assume there was like some breed of supernatural predator out there. It starts picking people off. We don't know what to do about it, and we have to start like experimenting and doing science.
Yeah. Let's say that there's some sort of, I don't know, like were-rocks that are killing people. And the only way to kill the were-rock is to shoot a bullet directly underneath its left kneecap. And it has to be where the crack is in all of their left kneecaps.
You know where the third hole is?
Exactly.
Where the fourth hole is?
No, the third hole.
Behind the left kneecap. You're just gonna have to believe.
Anyway, who the fuck would know that?
Yeah, but like, okay, let's assume you took every piece of knowledge out of our brains about zombies and how they work and how to destroy them. You know, then a zombie outbreak would be terrifying. It would be, you know, I wouldn't know what to do with it because I would shoot a gun at the zombie and hit them in the chest and be like, by all logic, you should be dead now. Yeah. Why are you still moving?
Here explains, you know, that explains how the zombie plague would spread, right? Is because people don't know how to deal with a zombie. Now, here's the thing, though. I think people are smarter, at least by a little bit, than what they give them credit for in the movies. It's like, okay, somebody dies. They get back up. Bam, bam, 2 in the chest. Oh, they're still coming. Bam, 1 in the head. They fell down. Huh. Bam, bam, bam. Yep, that's how you do it.
Scientific method. Shoot them in the chest, nothing happens. Legs and arms, nothing happens. 1 through the eye. Looks like he's dead now.
Because you know what? If anything, I don't care what the fuck is attacking me. If something came at me and I shot it in the chest and it still kept coming, I'd aim for the fucking head second. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, and granted, I mean, we say aim for the head like it's, you know, just an idea that you can just do. But apparently, according to people who go shooting regularly, the idea of getting a headshot is a lot harder than it sounds, especially from further away. You kind of have to wait till the zombie is like literally trying to bite your face off, and then stick the gun in its mouth and just pop a few off.
Then again, my contingency plan, coming up with a samurai version suit of the Iron Man armor, where it's like all interlocking and shit, and then just going out there with a katana or two.
True.
It's like, that
but even then, chopping off their heads doesn't really destroy the heads. It just separates it from the body. So you'd wind up like in The Walking Dead with just severed heads going.
Yeah. Which, you know what? I mean, if I
really, if all you had was a severed head that was just kind of randomly chomping, you could just leave it there.
It's like zombie apocalypse. Step 1, go out there, cut all their heads off. Step 2, after all of the zombies are dead in the area and you're sure they're dead after like a week of killing or whatever, go out there, poke each one in the head.
Well, it's like when I was reading World War Z, the book, not that god-awful stupid movie.
Yeah. Oh, is it going to be the wall you're talking about, the wall of wailing zombies?
That was kind of cool, except I think that was in the Zombie Survival Guide. The Japanese cult that had like the wailing zombie heads, which couldn't actually happen because there's nothing to.
Yeah, there's no
the
vocal
noise.
cords.
Yeah, even lungs don't work because that's a body function that kind of shuts down. But anyway, I was thinking about, I think it was either in Canada or somewhere in Russia. There were these people that were surrounded by zombies. They waited until the zombies froze during the winter, and then just walked out and caved in their skulls with a hammer.
Oh, yeah.
And then just wandered past. While the zombie was like, it can't move, it's fucking frozen solid, or at least solid enough that it can't actually move its body. They just wandered up and went, pop! And then that was it. Dead zombie. It thaws out, flops on its side, fucking done.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Now, didn't they also mention things about that, about, the zombie, like, bowels erupting and stuff like that because, they were dead?
Well,
was it in that one?
No. I mean, there was points where they mentioned that the bacteria that would normally feed on humans that causes that kind of thing stopped working because nothing would eat the necrotized tissue, not animals, not bacteria. But they did mention things like a zombie wandering past a barbed wire fence, getting its stomach caught, wouldn't know enough to walk away. So it's entirely possible that it could just rip its whole stomach open and start yanking intestines out as it goes.
Yeah. I don't know, my favorite story out of that, though, was the Japanese guy escaping from the apartment complex.
Yeah.
Or the apartment building.
Yeah, he, found a sword in one of the apartments and just took off with it and then ran into that blind guy that fucking turned him into a samurai in the woods. That was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one was still the submarine. Where it's like, the people were trying to escape on boats and the zombies were following them and falling into the water, and then those people in the submarine put it down at the bottom of the ocean and they could actually hear the zombies outside the submarine scratching on the walls to get in. I was like, no.
Well, then again, the first zombie outbreak, or at least what they thought was the first zombie outbreak, was that whole diving expedition in China. Remember, they came up and the guy's hand was bit or whatever?
Because there might have been zombies in that village that had been flooded for the dam.
Yeah, that's been, flooded for, 200 years or something or other.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how that all... But that was, the first recorded thing, and then some other stuff happened and some other stuff. Which leads me to believe that the zombie plague, it would be like... You or I are perfectly healthy. If we got, a homeless guy scratched his tooth on us, and we shoved him over and got away from him, okay, fine, we just got bit, kind of, sort of. It may take days for that infection to actually catch up with us.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I don't understand about the zombie outbreaks now is just that, like I said before, there's so much knowledge. Let's just say out of nowhere, a zombie appeared here in Reno, at a local hospital. It'll bite a few people, it'll start a ruckus, one or two of them might get away. I doubt it, but they might. But then you got two zombies, and then they bite somebody, and then I just don't see how... I can see how, one city could possibly fall. But then you got to consider, okay, well, maybe somebody got bit before they got on an airplane. And then they went somewhere else and bit someone else who possibly got a...
Which becomes a problem because if the virus moves too fast, then it won't spread far enough. And the way that makes sense is because you couldn't get on a plane. Because if it turns you in like 10 minutes, you're going to know that person's a zombie before they get on a plane. So it's going to be segregated to that
Right, but going back to
area.
where I started, it's like, okay, somebody downtown gets scraped up by a zombie and manages to get away, and they wind up with a little cut on their arm or something. They're like, oh, it must have just scratched me, but it was a bite. So, it may take them 2 or 3 days to turn, at which point they're in another city.
Yeah.
And then it starts over there. I just don't see how, in the world we live in, with all of the zombie media, I mean, I think the biggest thing it comes down to is people. It's all one thing to be like, well, I would shoot the zombie in the head, or I would grab a hammer and just cave their skull in. But that still takes a certain level of detachment. Because at that point, they're not people anymore. But, not everyone is quite as cynical or jaded as we are. Yeah. There's going to be plenty of people that, see
somebody's, like,
grandma,
daughter or mother.
And there's going to be like, oh, God, I can't do this. They're my family. And it's like, well, they're actually a zombie now. Yeah. That whatever you thought was your family is gone, so you probably should just kill them.
Yeah, like, let me ask you, would Susie Q be running at you in the intent of eating your flesh?
Yeah. Is she interested in extreme necking?
I wouldn't know with my son.
He is kind of zombie-ish.
Well, you see, I don't know if you can see this on camera.
Your Harry Potter scar?
Yes, that's from my son. My 1.5-year-old caught me with his nail the other day.
Yeah.
While I was sitting on the floor.
He'd probably be a lot noisier, though, if he were a zombie. It was like that zombie baby in the one movie that wouldn't shut the hell up, and it was just screaming all loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I can see where there would be groups of people that would have trouble dealing with the zombie apocalypse who would then become part of the zombie problem. But then there's other people who are like, okay, fine, there's a level of detachment because these aren't people anymore. They're just, sick things that need to be put down.
Yeah.
Because you're doing them a favor by stopping them from hurting anyone else.
Yeah, or, after a while, whoever ends up surviving, which this would literally be the survival of the fittest at that point, would be looking at them as combatants. That's all you'd be looking at them as. They're no longer people, they're... It's
kind of like The Walking Dead after a certain point, It's like, at first there was that, like, oh, well, we should kill them because they're trying to kill us. But at this point, if they see a zombie, they're like, God, would somebody deal with that thing?
I do kind of wonder about the new Walking Dead show, because that's supposed to cover the origins of where the zombie outbreak came from. Which I'm not too fond of, because, that's another thing that is good about the zombie mythos. If you notice about most of it,
they never really tell you where it started.
Yeah, most of the stories, there's not really an origin story, so you can kind of make up your own...
It's like Night of the Living Dead. A meteor passes by the Earth. All of a sudden, the dead people are coming back to life. Why? We don't know. It might have something to do with the meteor. It might not. It might just be a terrible coincidence.
Yeah.
Maybe it is the end of the world. Maybe this is God's ultimate judgment, bringing zombies from the dead to eat us all.
Yeah.
Of course, you think they would have mentioned that in the Bible somewhere if it was part of the plan.
I don't know. Hell is full,
Yeah.
The dead will walk the earth.
So says that guy.
So says Jesus the gardener.
Yes.
But, yeah, anyway, I think that's what makes these type of things scarier, is when you don't know, the origins of, the threat.
Something I've actually been reading about, because I went back to read the Dresden Files again, and one of the things he keeps talking about is fear, and how it's okay to be afraid. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. It's a smart reaction to an uncertain situation. But the only way to counter fear is with knowledge.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. You're afraid of these shambling dead things that are apparently just wandering the street biting people. Okay, so how do you not be afraid? You understand that they can't operate machinery. If you get them behind a door that they can't quite figure out by banging on it, you're probably going to be okay.
Shit, wood.
Exactly. So those aliens and signs, it's like, apparently they can't open a door.
Yeah,
they can't even break it open.
They can't get through wood.
But, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, right now, I would know that my door is locked and bolted, and it would take a heck of a lot of zombies working for quite some time to break my door down.
Yeah, and they wouldn't think to go around and break through what's a much easier window because they're not thinking.
Yeah, I mean, if any of them did think that, it would be because they heard a noise from the window or saw movement or light in the window and were just drawn to it like idiot animals.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, you could distract the zombie with loud noises and lights somewhere else that you just put there so that they'd follow it.
Yeah, matter of fact, you know what? If the weather's comfortable, I would probably just park my ass on the roof of the apartment complex and maybe just come down if I needed to eat or what have you. Just keep everything locked, but you're not making any noise down here. There's no movements in the windows, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's not really much that can be done.
Will you help me?